So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with again the only other person up there being King Richardson.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. This week's episode, we are continuing our 2026 offseason preview for fantasy football. This episode will be running backs. We talked about the quarterbacks last week. And here with me to discuss said running back offseason preview is Mr. Jacob Krogan. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. What's up?
Not a whole lot. So we are trying to be a little bit more consistent this offseason. However, just because of the work schedule, we do have to film this one during the day. However, I have graciously started supplying all of our episodes again on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can listen to your podcasts, iHeartRadio. It's all up there. So go ahead and check it out. If you cannot catch us live, you can also rewatch us on YouTube, which would be really awesome. And while you're rewatching us on YouTube, just go ahead and hit that like button. Very simple, very easy way to generate some attention for us. If you like content like this, please go ahead and share with your friends. Going back to the quarterbacks real quick, though, we did talk about the hypothetical of Dante Moore declaring. It did come out that he is, in fact, going back to Oregon, which subsequently means Dylan Raiola will be taking his red shirt, and then he will be the Oregon quarterback in 2027. So Oregon looking like they got a couple of blue chip prospects for quarterback the next couple seasons. Interesting to see how that plays out. But to pivot to what we want to talk about today, running backs. So my opinion of this offseason for running backs is there is a very good complement. And what I mean by that is it's very heavy on free agency and very light on the draft. I know we've had previous draft classes where, you know, they're heavy in the draft and light in free agency, or just heavy in both, light in both. I don't know. Heavy in both, light in both seems like the worst case scenario. I don't know what your opinion on that is, Jake. What would you rather have as far as like looking into the offseason? Would you rather just be a plethora of running backs to choose from, or a good complement between the draft and the free agency?
Honestly, I like a good complement of both, but I mean, that's depending on what my team is. If I'm rebuilding, you don't want the draft capital. Like, you don't want all the running backs coming out that are good, because then, or I guess let me reverse that. Yeah, you want all the draft capital. And if you're contending, you want all the free agents because you already have the team and you odds are don't have the draft capital. I'll get there. Sorry, guys. It's early in the morning for me.
Yeah, and Jake is on night shift this week, which is why we are filming this during the day. Again, please go ahead, give us a rewatch, give us a listen. If you cannot watch us live, that's fine too. For those of you also wondering, we both live in Florida. However, I'm wearing this nice, keep me warm kind of hat. So it's probably the first time that I've lived in this house. So that's about 2.5 years that Florida has seen a 32-degree temperature. It touched 32 degrees outside last night. And the way that Floridians react to that number 32 is a lot different than what I'm used to. But that being said, it was a little chilly this morning. I do have the hat on. I think it's up to about 48 degrees now. So it's the first time I've put my heat on in my house since I bought the house. So that's an interesting story. So just to touch on the draft prospects for running backs real quick, it's not a very good class, in my opinion, on paper. Now, some of these guys, there's a load of variables that could happen at this point. They could have home run landing spots. The NFL could view these guys way differently than we view these guys. Maybe they all get second-round draft cap. Who knows as far as that? We cannot predict the future. But with what we know today, this running back class does not seem to be shaping up very well. The consensus, 101, 102 maybe in super flex leagues. That's a conversation we can get into. Jeremiah Love, obviously their blue chip prospect, but he's probably the only one We have his running mate at Notre Dame, Jadarian Price. We have Jonah Coleman from Washington. We have the Penn State running backs, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. And then the first underclassman to actually declare for the NFL draft was Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. So that is a interesting little fact there. Those are probably the 6 big ones that I have. Again, not a very deep class, not a very good class, but those guys could at least be impactful depending on what their NFL path looks like. So my first question to you, Jake, is with the way Fernando Mendoza has played this year, do you still feel like Jeremiah Love is in a tier of his own for 101? Or if you're in a Superflex league, is there at least a discussion to be had about Fernando Mendoza being the 101?
Considering that 95% of our conversations involve Superflex tight end premium, that's what we generally play and talk about.
It's 100. I don't ever talk about 1 QB leagues.
We get questions about it through the comments. We generally do. So that's where the 5% comes in, just to the loyal watcher here.
Fair. You're right.
But just that's a tough call. But for me, it comes down to my hate of the Raiders, and I'm going to try and give an unbiased opinion here. I hope that they get a better head coach. I hope that they make things competitive in the AFC West. But Mendoza, he can make a name for himself with the Raiders. He has the team around him, the tools to be a good NFL quarterback. And so he can get there, but right now I don't. I think Jeremiah Love is the consensus 101, even in Superflex, because the teams that need running backs, aka people like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Saints, all have the draft capital in the first round right now to go get those guys. And if Love goes to, heaven forbid, Love goes to the Chiefs, like he's a smash 101 in my eyes.
I think there's a couple spots where if Jeremiah Love lands, he's the smash 101, and that would include Minnesota, Kansas City. Depending on what Chicago decides to do with DeAndre Swift, Chicago. I just looked at DeAndre Swift's contract. We'll get more into him in a minute. But yeah, I think for me personally, this entirely depends on the head coach that the Raiders get. Now, the rest of the offseason matters too. Can they fix the offensive line problems? What do they do in free agency? But for me, at worst, Fernando Mendoza is 105 in Superflex. He is locked into the top 2 tiers of the draft, in my opinion. And some of the things I really like about Fernando Mendoza is his accuracy. I would say his ability to navigate the pocket. I think that we've talked about this last episode, so if you didn't see it last episode, go ahead. He kind of reminds me of Jared Goff with a little bit more mobility. I compared his potential fantasy output to more like Brock Purdy, which isn't bad at all. But for me, it depends strictly on what coach the Raiders get. If they get a great offensive mind, a great head coach, somebody that can come in and establish culture, I think that moves Fernando Mendoza at least into the tier with Jeremiah Love. If they get a coach that's kind of iffy, I'm keeping him in the tier with the top 3 wide receivers, who we'll talk about next week when we talk about wide receivers.
Okay, what coach?
So with Harbaugh,
you had to guess.
With Harbaugh already off the board, I would like to. I'm curious because this coaching cycle doesn't seem very good either. If they go get a Kevin Stefanski, who is brilliant offensive mind, but probably not a real culture setter, probably should have stayed as an offensive coordinator. But if they go get him, at least the offense might be explosive. A Clint Kubiak, potentially. I know people say Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll. Those guys seem really more headed toward going back to offensive coordinators. So I don't see either one of them getting a head coaching job. But I know Stefanski had head coaching interviews lined up the day he got fired. So
yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. That'd be something that I'd have to reassess. I feel like that there's going to be a couple of coaching candidates that kind of come out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't feel like to me that Mike LaFleur is being talked about enough. He's the offensive coordinator for the Rams. I feel like if he comes out and gets, a head coaching job potentially in LA or Vegas, excuse me, there's pieces in Vegas to play with. You have Ashton Genty, who had over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. You have Brock Bowers, who, despite missing, I think, 7 games, finished as the tight end 11 on the season in tight end premium formats. So, I mean, he's electric. You have pieces in place that you could potentially hook up a rookie quarterback to sustain some level of production. I think it really just depends on the coach, though. And, like I said, the rest of the offseason matters too. But
honestly, if Mike McDaniels went to the Raiders, I would be petrified. Everybody can say what they want, but that man can scheme up all the plays. That man can.
I don't know how to answer that question, Gringo. He says, how do I make $250 quickly with the playoff games? I deleted my sports betting apps.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
Guys.
I mean, 1, I wasn't really using them a ton anyway. And 2, I was on like a massive cold streak. So I was like, this is just, I was like, I'm not committed enough to like look into the research. I'm just doing like a bunch of field bets that I keep losing on. I was like, I don't really care for this anymore. So I deleted my betting apps. It's no big deal. I got to save a couple pennies for some guy's wedding anyway. That's going to be, halfway around the world potentially. So the $10 every other week that I used to spend on gambling will help me get there.
Don't blame me one bit there, brother. Not one bit, but yeah, man. Mike McDaniels being able to open up the run for Genty and stuff would be huge. He would have Brock Bowers, who is just an elite. Like, he would have a plethora of schemes. He doesn't need great receivers in that scheme. He just needs a quarterback to get the ball where it needs to be. And as much as I love A-Chain, Genty is pretty much on the same plane to me. And
different style, but yeah, I mean, equally as talented in my opinion.
Yeah, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And we saw what he does with Waller, Dulcich this year. What he's done with he went to the Steelers.
Jonnu
Smith. Like, imagine what he could do with Brock Bowers. So, from a football perspective, I would love to see Mike McDaniels there. And I know we got off topic here. We're talking about running backs, but that would be the scariest coach in my eyes.
To be fair, all this time that we're spending talking about potential 101s between Love and Mendoza, we can just like peg to the draft prospects time we would spend considering this draft class. I mean, I'm looking at Price, Coleman, Singleton, Allen, and Emmett Johnson. And as of today, with what I know, in like a decent draft class, I wouldn't consider any of them first-round draft picks. Again, the NFL is probably going to surprise us with one of these guys. Maybe one of them goes in the early second that we're not predicting. We have to reevaluate that. But as of today, I don't think that any of these guys are true, bell cow potential running backs. Maybe Jonah Coleman, but time will tell. So I'm okay debating who's 101 and what the different scenarios are right now, if you are.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
So, yeah, Fernando Mendoza, what would make things really, really interesting and not in a good way at all is if Fernando Mendoza went back to school for his last year of eligibility.
There's no way. I mean, there's a way.
There is a way. I mean, Kurt Cignetti's built a huge, culture there at Indiana. That would be huge for them. But that would be insane. And this draft class would officially, like, if you don't have the 104, if you don't have anything in the top 4, you are immediately picking from a pool of guys who in a good draft class are arguably second round players.
Yeah,
at the 105. That's insane to think about.
No, I agree. 1000% agree.
But yeah, Jeremiah Love, I think, is safer than Mendoza just because of, the floor is going to be there for him, especially if he goes to a smash landing spot. But even if he doesn't, right, let's historically think about some running backs that didn't go to smash landing spots. Ashton Genty last year did not go to what people considered a smash landing spot, and all he did was, again, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and finish as a top 12 running back. Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions traded up to number 12 for him, and they were like, they have David Montgomery. What are they doing? And at the time, they still had DeAndre Swift. It was a very confusing draft pick. I know hindsight is like hard for people to remember, especially with the success Gibbs has had to this point, but that wasn't considered a smash landing spot. So there are dudes that are just talented enough to overcome things like that. But yeah, Jeremiah Love is, very, very safe draft pick, very, very high floor player. To me, very high ceiling. I know that there's a lot of debate that like he's comfortably like not better than Genty as a prospect. It could be my homerism coming out, but I completely disagree with that. I think that I think he's closer to a Gibbs level prospect than I think I'd put him between Genty and Gibbs, but could be homerisms. I'd love for Jake to sit down, watch the film, and tell me his honest opinion.
Oh, I watched him a good bit last year, so
I just think his contact balance is insane. Like the guy cannot be tackled by the first tackler at all, ever. And everything you like this a lot about running backs. You point this out very frequently. He falls forward every time.
Exactly.
That extra 0.1, 0.2 on 15 carries is 1.5 to 3 points. That's huge.
That's difference maker. Z Money, what's up, bud? And you're getting roasted by the Bronco Burger here, dude. The floor is there for everyone.
Oh yeah, I don't know who the Bronco Burger is, but
Neither do I. But
the floor. I mean, there really isn't a floor for every. I mean, I guess there is a floor, but like the floor, saying the floor is there for everyone. That's a bit of a bold take.
I mean, everybody has the floor that they're going to hit.
Do they? I mean, like, yeah, everybody has a floor, but like the safety net of a high floor.
I mean, some have the elevated floor. Us, we have this, baseboard floor here, so we can, just.
Mine's a little elevated in one spot.
Oh yeah. No, but Z Money, Caleb Downs, safety, Hall of Famer. That is a bold take. The Cowboys don't draft defensive players, do they? Oh no, they trade them. Got it.
Yeah. They traded for Quinn Williams. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a franchise run by Jerry Jones, who fired the only reason they ever won Super Bowls while he was there anyway. So I'm not concerned with the Cowboys.
Never.
We will talk about the Cowboys though, because I think it's time we pivot to the free agents now.
Yeah, free agents are way more fun. And
there's Jeremiah Love and there's everybody else. But this free agent class, as long as all of these guys don't get franchise tagged, could be really, really fun. Here's a list of names that I have, and feel free to add any others that I may have missed. Impending free agents: Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Javonte Williams, Tyler Algier, Rico Dowdle, Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, and this time last year I would have never added this name, but Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh, how football is funny.
Dude, so I have this theory. We can talk about Kenneth Gainwell, right now. Let's start from the bottom up. Kenneth Gainwell. So Kenneth Gainwell seemed like one of those Aaron Rodgers guys. Like, how Aaron Rodgers really likes to have control of the personnel that's on the field. So I also think that's why Caleb Johnson never played, because he couldn't do anything right.
Yep.
But Kenneth Gainwell is one of those guys that like does everything well, even without the football. And I think that Aaron Rodgers really appreciated that. So I think that's why he played a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to Pittsburgh. But also reports rather have come out that the only reason Aaron Rodgers went to Pittsburgh was because of Mike Tomlin. And now that Mike Tomlin's not the coach of Pittsburgh, it's kind of, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do? So that's an interesting scenario to follow.
I thought Aaron Rodgers said, I thought there was a report out with some interview that he took that this was his farewell. He was done. He's just not in it anymore.
I didn't see that. I'm not saying that that's not true. I didn't see any.
No, they talked about it in the playoff game. The announcers did.
I feel like if Aaron Rodgers had said that, it would be talked about a lot more publicly than just the announcers in the playoff game.
But I don't know.
But I also didn't watch the playoff game. So the Houston Texans defense kind of performed in a way that I thought they would, although, you can't ever predict 2 touchdowns. I figured that they would shut down that Pittsburgh offense, and they sure did that.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, Kenneth Gainwell is somebody that kind of interests me.
I would not hate it, but the most interesting guy on here that isn't a big name to me is Tyler Algier. And he just got incredibly unlucky behind Bijan, or getting Bijan drafted after he, the year prior, averaged over 5 yards a carry, went nuts, and everybody was like, what are the Falcons doing? Well, Falcons are making business decisions. Tyler Algier was a great handcuff, and he got most of the touchdowns, which pissed a lot of Bijan owners off. But I'll be interested to see where he goes, because I think that he's put in the time, shown that he can do it, and be a bell cow back.
Yeah,
But-
so his rookie season, 210 carries, over 1,000 rushing yards, only 3 touchdowns, but he had 8 this past season. He was vulturing some touchdowns from Bijan. That was another one, if you remember, back during the draft, in the moment where the Falcons drafted Bijan Robinson, people were like, what the hell? Now, you can't really pass out on a talent like Bijan, that for obvious reasons, but I do like Tyler Algier as somebody that I'm scoping. And I think now, before the rest of your league mates kind of catch up and start looking into it, now's the time to go make deals where you involve the Tyler Algiers, the Rashad Whites, the potential free agents, the guys that have room to climb, especially the ones that are kind of suppressed and people have forgotten about, like Tyler Algier, where people off the top of the head just think about him like a handcuff, right, in fantasy, whereas free agent starts in 54 days. That's when free agency starts. He could, in 54 days, he could be the RB1 of some team. Off the top of my head, it could be, maybe he goes to Minnesota and he's the RB1 there. You never know. There's always some wild things that are truly unpredictable in free agency. And now is the time to go capitalize on these moves before the rest of your league mates start really paying attention to what's going on. But yeah, I really like Tyler Algier. That's a good one.
Do you want to just talk about each, just go down the list and talk about each one?
Yeah, sure.
And where we think that they'll go, if they
So
stay.
let me ask you this real quick. Who do you think is the number 1 free agent running back?
Brees Hall.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. So number 2 is between 2 or 3 names for me. Who do you have there?
So, I think you have them in order pretty well, with Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, and then the third one, it could go a variety of different ways.
So you don't have Javonte Williams looped in the tier with Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne?
If I had to talk about it, just would be slightly out. I think those 2 are in their own tier, and then it would go Javonte Williams, Rico, and Tyler Algier, and then the last 4 of Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Rashid Rice.
I feel like J.K. Dobbins would be looped into the Dowdle tier. Now, I know J.K. Dobbins has problems staying healthy, but that dude is just so good when he's on the field.
He is, and honestly, I think he signs back with the Broncos. So
let's start there, because I agree with that. And since you're the Broncos fan, you should take the lead on that one.
So for those that don't know, he literally took, and this is low key, I owned at one point in the season pretty much every share of RJ Harvey, and I love RJ Harvey. He does not have the vision that J.K. Dobbins has. And he has great contact balance. He receives well. He runs fast. But at the end of the day, J.K. Dobbins was the bell cow in that backfield before he got hurt. He was doing great. He was breaking off runs. He was doing everything he was required to do. And that's why I've been slowly selling off my RJ Harvey shares, some of them, because I think J.K. Dobbins comes back. There's potential Denver wins this week. He comes back for the AFC Championship game.
I saw that.
And so that would be huge for the run game. But he got so mad because can we pivot a little? He got hip drop tackled. I thought that was a 15-yard penalty these days.
I am so glad it's not, because there would probably there would probably be an extra like 3 or 4 15-yard penalties every single game.
Mhm.
And when you're moving full speed at the speed these guys are moving, like you don't have time as a linebacker or a defensive back to sit there and think about how you're going to tackle somebody.
You're
They're going to be
literally
gone.
reaching to grab them, and you're just like, I pray to God to make this tackle. Like,
Yeah, like
they're running away.
You're playing football. Shit happens. Get over it. I mean, it sucks that you got hurt. I'm real sorry about that, but get over it.
Yeah, no. And so, I mean, I think J.K. Dobbins comes back. I think Sean Payton loves him. He's great all 3 downs. And so I think it's going to be a shared backfield. And so right now I'm selling high on R.J. Harvey. When he's the bell cow, he was putting up 20 points. He was almost averaging 20 points a game. Going nuts. But if they sign him back, I don't see it happening. I see the reduced role, and I think right now you sell high on R.J. Harvey.
I'm so proud of you. I think R.J. Harvey's probably off the top of my head, one of the top 3 sell highs of the offseason. My reason's probably a little bit different than yours. I don't necessarily think it has to be J.K. Dobbins, but I do think they bring somebody back. What if the Broncos sign Tyler Algier? That would be something, huh? That would be actually a great compliment. But I feel like R.J. Harvey is a great sell high because the amount of touchdowns he scored compared to his touches is like a completely unsustainable pace. So I feel like that there is touchdown regression due there. If he's involved in the passing game consistently, then, he'll have that PPR, safety net where you can probably flex him every week. But there's obvious touchdown regression coming, and, maybe he's an outlier and maybe he does score double-digit touchdowns every single season. But it's just statistically it doesn't happen, especially with the amount of touches he had. And like I said, I do think they bring somebody back. So I completely agree with what you're saying.
10-second things.
Let's see.
When you add a banner. Interesting.
What'd you say?
Or did you pull that banner off?
What do you mean?
I put an R.J. Harvey banner up there.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't.
Oh, it just went away without me doing anything. Sorry, sidetrack, squirrel moment.
Oh yeah, there is timers on it. Yeah, sorry. Didn't know that was a thing. How about that? Maybe I should start paying attention to the updates that StreamYard sends and say, going, okay. Let me go to let me go to the room.
Okay, but let's get back to this. Let's talk.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about anybody on the list, and we're 28 minutes into the show. So
looking at the comments, this guy is a conversation here.
Yeah, I wanted the 103 real quick. One more question about RJ Harvey. You say sell high on RJ Harvey. What are you looking to get? Give me a draft pick value.
On RJ Harvey?
Yeah.
I think you could sell him right now for the 105 probably.
Yeah, I would shoot for 106. That would probably be where I'd go. But
yeah, my heart okay. But
all right, Javonte Williams, yes, was requested in the comments. Apologies, Timmy. We don't really follow the script here.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the BS. But how do I cancel it?
Oh, let me figure it out here.
I got it. There we go. There we go.
Yep.
That's stupid. Before you okay. I wonder if
Z Money says my GOAT, probably talking about Saquon Barkley. And then Timmy said, I'll give you the 111 and the 206. I would probably counter that. I would definitely counter that. That's not like a terrible offer, but I would not be looking for that.
Timmy, send me something and we'll talk it. We'll talk it through.
Yeah, so Javonte Williams obviously had a resurgence year with the Cowboys. Free agent, best time to have a resurgence year. Jake, go ahead and tell me what you think of Javonte Williams moving forward. What's the best landing spot look like? Do you think he re-signs with the Cowboys?
I think if the Cowboys were smart, they would.
Well, let's be realistic. They're not that smart.
Look, they can. And I think they do. I think he did enough in that offense to warrant getting re-signed. And if not there, he'll get re-signed somewhere. But I think he knows the offense, played well, and but I don't know where else he would go that would make sense because he played well. Everybody was high on Jaden Blue. I actually made a trade where I was trying to trade Javonte Williams this last offseason, and somebody told me to keep my cannon fodder, which was Javonte Williams, and then just sent me the trade without him in it. And so I got the running back 7 for free, essentially. Or what did he finish? Running back 10?
12.
12? Okay, yeah. I got that for free. And I almost gave him away. So he finished as a running back 1, which is what everybody thought he was going to do. I think in that offense, he runs it well. He can run between the tackles. He's not the burner, but he breaks tackles, gets the hard yards. And he looked like his younger self prior to the ACL injury. And so I don't know what more the Cowboys would want because they need somebody cheap. I think you can get him on the cheap. And because they're signing everybody and their cousins. So, yeah, that's my take. He goes to the Cowboys, back to the Cowboys.
I've got a funny scenario for you. What if he goes back to the Broncos?
It won't happen. They burn that.
What if he goes to the Broncos and J.K. Dobbins goes to the Cowboys?
Well, I feel bad for J.K. Dobbins because he'll get injured because the Cowboys don't know how to use their players.
Well, I'd feel bad for J.K. Dobbins because that would stamp certify that he would, never get past the first round of the playoffs. But
what are you talking about? He already is. He's on the team right now in the second round. We're good.
I mean, if he signs with the Cowboys, he's never gonna conference championship game. Never heard of her.
Has Dak ever won a? I know we're just shit talking the Cowboys now. Has Dak ever won a playoff game?
He has won 2 playoff games in his career.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts won more playoff games last year than Dak did in his entire 10-year career to this point.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Javonte Williams won't go back. I mean, that's essentially saying I'm not saying Javonte Williams isn't smart, but I think to play in the Sean Payton offense, you have to have a mind. You have to have the ability to diagnose defenses yourself as a running back. No blitz pickups, no everything that you're supposed to. And Javonte Williams, I'm not saying he's not smart, but I think it's wild that he didn't re-sign with Denver, and I think that's for a reason. And Sean Payton wants his type of guys.
Let me get this off my chest. Bring up Breece Hall.
Okay, let's talk about the boy Breece Hall here, okay? Breece Hall, lifetime Jets guy here.
Bring up Breece Hall. Okay.
Oh, he's here.
Let's talk about the inevitability that he's getting franchise tagged and go back to the Jets.
There's no way.
I mean, how can the Jets let him go?
They're easily. He's already requested trades. At that point, I'd just retire.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but this
There's
guy's
no
a football
way.
player through and
There's
through.
no way they do that.
I think it's inevitable. I pray on my knees as a Breece Hall fantasy owner that does not happen. I think it's inevitable.
Okay. It might happen. Hopefully, the Jets do the right thing and let their good players go. Trade Garrett Wilson as well. And just give the fantasy football players what they need in life, okay? Because we don't want
anybody who's owned more than 80% in dynasty leagues. Hopefully, they just trade so we can move on.
Yeah, no, but that would be so bad. I'd hate it, but at the end of the day, he's proven that he can do a job there and he can do it well. But I don't think his heart's in it. He wants to go compete. He hasn't done that in 4 years. So
Yeah, and Brees Hall is obviously an electric player who we would love to, see in a much better situation. But again, dude, I guess I'm setting myself up for the worst, so that way I don't, when it does happen, like my expectations were already on the floor. I only have 2 shares of Brees Hall, thankfully, but
I'm curious.
yeah, if I had to say today, I think the Jets franchise tag him and he goes back. That's gross. It's ugly. I hate it, but that's where I'm at.
Honestly, makes me want to cry if that is the case.
What would you pay for Brees Hall right now?
105.
Dude, I got him for the 110 in Pee Wee. At the time, we didn't know it was the 110, but the owner had just been eliminated from the playoffs, and I sent him my first round pick. Just like, hey man, here you go. Get rid of it. And he gave me Brees Hall. But that's because Brees Hall was still on the Jets and it was miserable. He wasn't scoring fantasy points. And I am just begging that he goes Kansas City, Minnesota, Chicago, go give me something good, please.
Right. Let's see here. Do I own any shares?
What if he goes to Jacksonville? That would be fun too.
Oh, I own 2 shares of them.
Jacksonville could be fun.
Jacksonville would be fun, but I think they're going to just sign Travis Etienne back. Not going to lie. A lot of these guys, it would be in their best interest just to re-sign. And I say a lot of these guys as in J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier, or not Tyler Algier, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Jesus.
Yeah,
So those 3 guys.
Yeah, Travis Etienne would be a legit re-sign for the Jaguars. Finishes RB10 this year. I don't know, man. Like they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so that's why he's a free agent this year instead of next year. To me, it just seems I get the kind of sense that like they feel like they can just do better than Travis Etienne, and I feel like Travis Etienne really isn't that bad, but I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. I would like to see him go back to Jacksonville just because that offense is obviously clicking now. And you want running backs and good offenses. They tend to score more points. Looking at you, Brees Hall. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that he goes back to Jacksonville.
Yeah, basically any of these guys going to the Chiefs scares me. And that's how I dictate how good they are at football. And that's Brees Hall, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker. If those guys go to the Chiefs, I'm scared.
My worst nightmare is Kenneth Walker going back to Seattle.
Oh, well, for a fantasy owner, if you own him, yes. I have 0 shares. I sold all of them. So
yeah, I have no shares of Kenneth Walker either. He's one that, like, the landing spot really matters for me.
Him at the Steelers would have made a ton of sense.
Yeah, they like Jalen Warren, and I don't think Warren's bad.
I don't think he's great, though.
I don't think he's great. I think any one of these guys combined with Jalen Warren would not be a great fantasy situation for these dudes.
Let's see here. Sorry, this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Kenneth Walker, I think he's a better runner than Travis Etienne is. I don't think he's a better pass catcher, which is, fantasy points, pass catching kind of go hand in hand. But I think as a pure running back, he's better. So if he hits the right landing spot, then, it's wheels up for Kenneth Walker.
I mean, we got 2 months until all hell breaks loose and we're in the best time of our lives again as Dynasty players. The free agency is awesome. Players go into certain spots. If you have shares, you can totally unload them for a haul. The hype.
The narratives that come out in the offseason when people land in certain spots is unreal. Speaking of landing spots, let's talk about landing spots for a second. So how many years consecutively have we talked about the Chiefs being a good landing spot and they just haven't done anything?
Too damn long. But if you think about it, they don't have the money to do it.
They're going to draft somebody in the first round.
Oh,
Why not a running back? Why
no,
not?
I think, like I said, if there was a time for them to do it, Patrick Mahomes hurt. What do you need? A elite running back
Mm-hmm.
until he gets healthy. Because whatever quarterback, whatever bridge quarterback. Ooh, I just had an idea in my head. Jacoby
Spit it.
Brissett goes to the Chiefs.
Who?
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett's under contract with.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
he
he's
was
under
a free
contract
agent.
for 2026.
Oh. Shit. Well, never mind. Wait, what free agency quarterbacks we got?
Daniel Jones, Malik Willis, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance. Mitch Trubisky to the Chiefs would be fun.
Fuck that. Or, actually, yeah, it would be a blast. Send him there. I'm not a Mitch Trubisky fan, but do they go like?
I don't think Wentz goes back to KC.
No.
For those of you that are wondering why BSing Sports is commenting on BSing Sports' video, that's probably Bill, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that's Bill Nye the Science Guy for sure. Just
No,
kidding.
that's Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt.
But yeah, no, I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do. That's going to be interesting. But if there was a time for them to get a running back, it is now. And so
Tyler Algier to the Chiefs could be fun. Be
That
a
would be fun.
cheaper option. That could be. You know who screams Chief to me? Rashad White.
Yes, but no.
That screams like Jerick McKinnon, third down, great pass blocker, great pass catcher. That screams Chief to me.
I mean, at that point, just go Najee Harris once you know.
But Najee Harris is slow, coming off an Achilles tear, old.
I mean, you could go Kenneth Gainwell there too. You could make an argument for anybody. Anyone on this list would probably go be a high-end running back too at the Chiefs next year.
I don't know about all that.
Who wouldn't be? Well, outside of Najee.
Everybody from Najee wouldn't be. Rashad White wouldn't be a high-end RB2. I don't think Kenneth Gainwell would be a high-end RB2. Tyler Algier would probably be like a mid to high-end RB2.
I guess I should have said running back 2.
Yeah, but see, not. I think Najee. I put him on the list, but I think Najee Harris's starting days are over. I think he's a role player at this point, no matter where he goes.
I feel bad because Hampton went down. If Najee was there, that would have been very fun to watch.
Najee has had like an insane fall off because there was nowhere to go for him but down from his rookie year, where he finished as the RB3, I believe. And that's only because he was getting a ton of dump offs from Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, that's what Ben Roethlisberger does. Okay, they're in this defense. Is my read open? No? Okay, checked out. Just
to be fair, that's what Ben Roethlisberger did like the last 2 or 3 years. Roethlisberger used to be a dog.
Yeah. But that's, man, I wish quarterbacks understood that. Now everybody wants to be Patrick Mahomes and keep looking downfield. Read your fucking defense. Go through your progressions. It's not there. Go to the check down. Live by another day.
The problem is colleges don't teach kids how to be quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is a fantastic football player. Ben Johnson's the best thing that ever happened to him because Caleb Williams in a Lincoln Riley system was never taught how to be a quarterback. That's why half of the stuff he does looks ugly and doesn't really work in the NFL as consistently as it should. Obviously, his jump man, 4th down throw to Roma Dunze was uber impressive. But if he does that play 10 times, he completes that pass twice, maybe. Colleges do not develop quarterbacks. That's not a thing that they do. Jackson Dart, ready for my snap count? What the fuck are we doing? Get under center and give me a hard count. Go watch Aaron Rodgers when he was with Green Bay. Shit was impressive.
Dude, is there anybody else? Aaron Rodgers retires. Is there anybody else? Matthew Stafford? That's it?
Yeah, there's a whole generation, not a whole generation, but there's going to be like part of a generation of kids that grow up and don't realize that Aaron Rodgers is easily a top 10 quarterback of all time.
No, and that's the problem. No, he's on the lower end of the top 10, but yeah.
Like, that's why I picked top 10. He's like easily in the top 10, but where he is at in the top 10 may be debated.
Yeah.
And I think if I saw this on Twitter, Facebook, somewhere on social media the other day that said if Aaron Rodgers replayed his career 10 times, he probably ends up with multiple Super Bowls and like 7 or 8 of them. He just happened to, not win more than one, which, to be fair, he's got more Super Bowls than most of the quarterbacks that have ever played in the NFL.
Yep.
So good for him.
I mean, what are we on? 60? What year is this for Super Bowls?
Isn't it 60?
Is it 60? Okay, might be. Oh yeah, because it's been a decade since 50 when Denver won. So yeah, Super Bowl 60, which means there's only been 59 quarterbacks to ever win it. And
That's not even a true statement because
I was just about to say like
Tom Brady's won more than 10% of the Super Bowls that have ever existed.
That's wild. I've never thought about it like that. That is wild. Huh. That's a good reel right there.
Over the existence of Super Bowls, Tom Brady has shown up in 1 out of every 6 of them. Shown up.
Yeah, I hate it.
That 2000s, like 2010s era, where you have Breeze, Rodgers, Brady, Manning. I mean,
nobody will ever understand.
That's the best era of quarterback play I think I'll ever see in my life.
No, yeah, but nobody will accept that. You had Kurt Warner as well. You had
Phillip Rivers was a dog.
Yeah, there's a reason he came back for the Colts. He can't do anything, but his mind is still there, and that's what they were hoping. Is just his mind would get him there. And Peyton Manning in his Super Bowl run, he was dead. He couldn't throw, couldn't do anything, but he could get him in the right play. And
Matt Ryan. Also add him to the list.
Yep. Poor guy. Will never outlive the 28-3. But yeah, no, it's just I hate it. I hate seeing college football players, quarterbacks, that it's all just gunsling and can you rush? Because coaches today, they don't have a leash. You better produce and you better show something in the first year or you're done. You better have a winning season by year 2 or you're done. Some get the year 3, and that's with pedigree.
Man, you took the words right out of my mouth and brought up a really good point that I didn't think of until I heard you say it. Is coaches are being hitched to the wagons of quarterbacks getting drafted early that just aren't developed properly, and there's so much pressure to go ahead and start these guys right away. Jackson Dart probably would have been, better off in the long term, sitting for the full season. That just didn't happen though. And that, look at who we consider the best quarterback in the NFL today is Patrick Mahomes. He sat his entire rookie year and learned how to be a quarterback.
Yep.
Because whether we want to believe it or not, we don't want to remember this far back. He was not Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. There was a reason he was the 10th overall pick. He was not first overall. He was not the best quarterback prospect coming out. He had to learn how to be a quarterback. And you just don't see it anymore, especially nowadays with the transfer portal open up in college, which, again, I don't think the transfer portal is a bad thing. I'm not saying that it is. There's very, very, very few coaches in college developing quarterbacks anymore. And it's hurting the NFL because you're expected to come out and produce right away. There's no sitting anymore. You're not sitting and learning.
Nope. And it hinders. Everybody wants that quick fix. Everybody wants that. Nobody wants to go through the struggles. I just went through the struggles for a decade.
Jalen Hurts is not a bad quarterback by NFL standards. I never thought he was elite. There's obvious flaws to his game, but when you look around at the landscape of the NFL, it's okay, who do we consider are good quarterbacks? And most of them you can point out have very similar flaws.
Yeah, even Patrick Mahomes right now has flaws. Like he's still trying to home run ball. He's getting older, and like it's taken him. How long has he been in? 8 years. 8 years now.
He was drafted in 2017, so
So 8 years.
I think he started for 8 years.
Yeah, but just now he had his best fantasy football season, but it took, and he's not running. Prior to him getting hurt, he was going nuts.
Well, I think the 1 year he finished as quarterback 1, he was insane, like 24 points per game or some craziness like that.
Yeah,
so first, second, yeah, sure. I see your
I
point.
think he's finally understanding the game now, understanding what reads, and like people were down on him like the last 2 years in the fantasy football community. They were down on him saying, "Oh, he's regressing. He's just not no rushing upside. He's bad." No, it's just it takes time to develop. It takes time to learn, and he's a prime example. He sat behind Alex Smith. He also had a great team surrounding him, just like Tom Brady did. Tom Brady inherited a Super Bowl team. People forget that. And he had a ton of mistakes his first 4 years. But Patrick Mahomes, yeah, sorry. Patrick Mahomes, same thing. Inherited a playoff team. Sat a year behind Alex Smith, who is a smart quarterback, former overall, number 1 overall quarterback. Took 2 teams to the playoffs. Like he didn't have the physical traits you needed, but he had the brain. And Patrick Mahomes got to sit, learn, and do great things. Had a great coordinator. He had a great setting. Most quarterbacks don't get that. Most teams don't get that. And so it starts everywhere else but the skill positions. And I wish teams understood that. Is you don't need the pristine receivers, you don't need the pristine running backs or the pristine tight ends. You need the trenches, and you need a quarterback that you can develop. Because if one thing you need, a quarterback needs more time. Where do you start? The offensive line. But sorry, thank you for coming to my TED Talks. Let's get back to running backs.
There is a reason at this point, running backs are long gone. We'll talk about it after free agency hits. There is a reason, and I don't mean to sound like a homer. There's a reason that the Eagles have been one of the best teams in the NFC pretty much my whole life. And that's because even back in the Andy Reid days, they've always had a top 10 offensive line, outside of a season here or there. And there was some regression there this year, but I think most people would say that they still had a top 10 offensive line. They draft from the inside out. That's the way that they build their roster. And they're a very good team because of it. Well, regardless of the other positions on the field, that's what keeps them in the game. So they had regressions at those positions this year, which is why I feel like part of the reason they didn't go as far as they did last year. But they were still probably top 10 to 12 units in the league. That's how you build good teams.
And that's how Denver got out of the trenches.
Yeah, Broncos had 2 all first team all pro offensive linemen this year. They had an all pro defensive lineman too.
Yeah, he drafted guys. I guess Sean Payton didn't draft Quinn Miners, or Garrett Bowles, but he got Powers. He got McGlinchey. He drafted Wuttenberger, who just signed a contract. But yeah,
O-line you right here.
But he got Jared Allen. He drafted Benito Cooper.
Did you say Jared Allen? You mean Zach Allen?
Yeah, sorry, Zach Allen.
It's all good, man. Might as well be the same player at this point.
Honestly, actually, I think Zach Allen's way better, but that's too.
Thank you for tuning in to BSing Sports. He's got some time. He's on a good pace. He's got some time. Jared Allen was just elected to the Hall of Fame, so let's not go doing that just yet.
A lot of people don't think he deserved it, but
I don't know why.
I don't know. But yeah, wow, we totally got sidetracked and went off on just football talk.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. So, yeah, I mean, really, with the way that this class is set up, like the reactions post free agency and post draft, that show that we do, I feel like is going to be a lot better for running backs than sitting here talking about it for free agency. The only thing that would really suck is if they all went back to the place they just came from.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was a great show, man. Thanks for your TED Talk. Thanks for going on that rant. I've really enjoyed it. You harp on being able to read a defense a lot, and I think that is a skill that just doesn't exist in the NFL today.
Nope. It's running around and buying time instead of just dissecting what's in front of you.
The term field general doesn't resonate in the NFL anymore.
And it plays in my head. They played a clip of Tom Brady. He was mic'd up.
Cover two, the fake handoff to Leonard from
and his back is turned. He literally said "hut" and turned, and he's saying cover two in his head. He's processing already. Knows where he's going with the ball. And yes, this was like at Tampa Bay. This is he's 20 years in, but that's what you need.
Phillip Rivers walks up to the line of scrimmage and audible every play, called out coverages, and found a wide open Josh Downs. The first like 3 or 4 drives against San Francisco. I didn't watch the rest of the game, but that's just it was a Monday night game, dude. I'm not staying up to watch that shit.
No.
But like just the actual processing, the mental side of the game is gone. Even play calling, right? Did you ever watch the clip of Drew Brees on Stephen Tolbert?
Oh, he's
explaining the play call, and he's sitting in the chair, laid back, not in an NFL huddle, and he calls this long play call from a Sean Payton playbook, which, by the way, people have expressed like, hey, like this is hard to do. He's sitting in a chair, calls a play call with a kill audible at the end in like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm glad
Trevor,
you brought that up.
I read an article that said Trevor Lawrence didn't call plays in a huddle his entire time in college.
Doesn't shock.
And he was deemed a blue chip prospect coming out of college. Let's think about that. Didn't call plays not one time.
The last player I think drafted that used their mind, and I'm probably like we can clip this whatever.
Yeah, off top.
Andrew Luck.
No, I think that's probably pretty accurate. That's the first name my mind went to too.
Yeah, and I hope maybe someone someday in a comment section can prove me wrong. I think Bryce Young has the mind, and I think that's what's making him so good right now is he knows where he wants to go with the ball. I just don't think he has the physical attributes to do it. But I don't know. That's just
I don't like fully disagree with what you said.
It's not elite. It's not elite yet, but you watch him play.
When you say the mind, like who would you compare him to? I think that's kind of where I'm hung up. Like, are you talking about like he's close to Andrew Luck?
No. I think he's
okay.
The closest of this generation of using his mind to dissect defenses and know where he wants to go with the ball because he can't see. And so like he's at disadvantages, so he has to process things more. And he doesn't have the natural arm talent and stuff. So that's where his skill set and I think it's why people dogged on him in his first couple of years and why we've seen the progression is because that's what he has to do. That's how he separates himself. That's how he keeps going. And so to me, I think he's the closest this generation has right now of using your mind. And because everybody wants the Josh Allen, everybody wants the arm strength, everybody wants the runner.
The flashiness, everybody loves a Brett Favre with legs nowadays.
Yeah. And that gets you there. But Brett Favre didn't know what a cover 2 was for like half his career.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't care.
He's just like, there's somebody, and I'm going to fire it in there when they're open.
It's crazy to watch the league transform because now there's more Brett Favre's and less Tom Brady's, Yeah. Tom Brady didn't have great physical attributes, but he communicated with his guys, got on the same page, and was like, hey, you find an empty hole in a zone and you go there. Like, if this is a 10-yard post route, but you're going to be open 8 yards, you go 8 yards. He's like, I'm going to throw to the open spot.
Yeah. And this is where I want to end this on is there's a reason that organizations are bad and have a bad stigma. It's because it starts with them. You are building the team. You are you set the foundation. The foundation doesn't start with a quarterback. The foundation starts with the team you build, with the coaches you bring in, and you develop quarterbacks. And you need a coach that can develop. You need to give them the leash, and you need to understand it's going to take time. It took Walmart buying the Broncos, understanding that assignment, giving up the first-round draft capital for Sean Payton, and then Sean Payton coming in, picking his guy and saying, hey, they ate the Russell Wilson money. They ate it. And
that is not talked about enough. And I'm going to cut you off because it's worth talking about. The Broncos, in the midst of being terrible, sold a first-round pick for a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the number one seed in the AFC.
2 years later. 3 years later.
3 years? 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years later.
I mean, if you can't have culture, if you don't have direction, if you don't have vision, and it starts at the ownership level, but it trickles down. If you don't have the owner, if you don't have the GM, if you don't have the coach driving the locker room, right? It's about vision. It's about direction. It's about what the message is in the locker room. And I've been arguing this point with Eagles fans for like the last 2 or 3 days who are so reactionary and want to get rid of everybody. Oh, Nick Sirianni needs an elite play caller. What does he actually do? Well, what a head coach is supposed to do is he's supposed to set the vision and drive a message into the locker room. And in Nick Sirianni's case, no matter whether they win or lose, he's supposed to stand at the podium and get beat up by a fan base and the media that can't stand him and fall on the knife every time that he gets put up there. Guess what? Nick Sirianni has the 4th most wins in NFL history in his first 5 seasons. You don't do that on accident.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what a coach is supposed to do. I don't give a shit if you can't scheme an offense. If you drive a message and build a culture in the locker room, that's perfect. There's a reason that some of these guys who are great play callers are terrible head coaches. I'm looking at you, Mike McDaniel. I'm looking at you, Brian Daboll. You may be a fantastic offensive mind. You suck as a head coach because you can't develop a culture.
Leader of men. That's what you need as a head coach.
That's what you're supposed to. Nobody remembers Mike Tomlin and all of his success because he called defensive plays. Nobody remembers John Harbaugh, who was a special teams coordinator, by the way, for his special teams and defensive play call. That's not what they're remembered for. That's not what they're going to be remembered for. Nobody knows what Vince Lombardi ever did on offense or defense. He's one of the most historic head coaches in NFL history. You don't have to be a play caller to be a good head coach.
You think we just made a solid case for us to, become GMs, or you think we should send these out for interviews, or?
Yeah, sure. Let me know how it goes for you. I'll let you go first.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
No, but that was good. I love that. We haven't got to just, talk ball in so long. That was needed.
Yeah, that was, especially given the timing. I'm glad that you teed that one up for me. That was perfect transitions and very genuine speak. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was big. Especially, I really wish Eagles fans would just shut the fuck up. You're all so annoying. I mean, it's entirely.
I'm gonna clip that just so I can have it as my background.
Even the people that say it's all Kevin Patullo's fault that the offense sucked. That's not the case. I guess it's Kevin Patullo's fault that A.J. Brown dropped, a 30-yard pass over the middle of the field.
Also, put in minimum effort for a ball 6 inches away from his hands and 3 inches away from his hands.
And that's just one game. Is Kevin Patullo out there blocking people on run plays? No. Is he out there having Jalen Hurts bail from the pocket when there's absolutely no reason to at all? No. I mean, when you are not successful, there's multiple reasons for that.
Also,
just one guy.
I want people to understand, Kellen Moore, elite offensive mind.
Yeah.
Look what he's doing with the Saints. And I'm so excited for the Saints next year. I'm not going to lie. I can't wait.
Kellen Moore, I'm curious to see, elite offensive mind. I'm curious to see whether he falls in the Kyle Shanahan category as somebody who's an elite offensive mind that displays they can win consistently, or is he a Daboll? Is he a McDaniel?
Yep. That will be the talking point. But he has a great organization behind him, great fan base, and I hope he brings the Saints back because honestly, just living down here in the South and being so close to Louisiana, there's a ton of Saints fans here, and it's always fun when they're doing good. But yeah, I know you have somewhere you got to be, so sorry.
Yeah, I got to go get the pup. He's at the groomers for the first time in 2 months, and my next off Friday, actually about 2 weeks from the hour, I'll be seeing you.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, you land right about this time in Texas, yeah?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks, Jake and I will be in Texas with the homie Gucci. We will be on a boys golf trip. We're signed up for the scramble on Sunday.
So
I'll make sure I bring my putter. It's about how I'm going to contribute. Maybe I'll hit a couple decent shots elsewhere, but there's a reason I'm a 16.3 handicap. So,
I mean, the whole point of a scramble is you want one of your shots used on every hole. And so generally that's one shot per player.
hey man, if your irons are as dialed in as they were last time we played in Ohio, I think we can do this. We can shoot a pretty good score.
We'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. We got Gucci too. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, for sure. With that being said, thank you for tuning in to BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and, well, a lot of BS and talk a whole lot of sports.